Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Be a Better You podcast. I am your host and subconscious reprogramming expert, Allison K. Dagney. If you've been paying attention, you've noticed I've released a mini series of these beliefs that survivors get stuck in. And one final thing for the conclusion of this series is why you should be angry about it. Now, a lot of survivors feel guilty for being angry. You might have even heard things like forgive and forget, or you have to forgive to move on. Or maybe, this is another big one, that you fear becoming like your abuser because maybe your abuser was a very angry person. And today I'm going to tell you why anger is not only valid, it is essential for your healing, and I'm going to share tools to help you release it in healthy ways. Now, before we get into this deeply, I just want to remind you that all of your emotions are totally valid. Sadness, guilt, regret, fear, anger. And the more that you actually feel your emotions, the easier it is for it to pass through. Now, I am a trauma-informed coach, and I have been trained in helping people release their emotions. I release my own emotions, and I truly believe that it's very, very helpful because if we stuff them or we hold them down, they're just going to keep surfacing later, and they're going to be coming with a fury. So make sure that if you are someone who is dysregulated to the point of feeling numb, you're going to have to get into your body. You're going to have to learn to get into your body and learn to start feeling your emotions. This is so critical. I have worked with so many survivors, and many of them have been in that state of numb, and we have to work to actually break through that shell. The numbness is a protection mechanism, okay? And there's a reason why people go through that, because a lot of times it is related to fear, or it's related to what they're making it mean if they are emotional. And so we have to just be really mindful of that. So if you're someone who has trouble feeling your emotions, I'd highly encourage you to seek out someone who can help you to start to process them. Emotions are not bad. They're just energy in motion, and they're just giving you information. Okay, so that's my little disclaimer on that. Okay, so why do survivors fear anger? What is this about? Why? And I want you to know you should be angry if you are abused, and it's totally fine to be angry. There is a difference between being angry and expressing your anger in good ways and bad ways. Okay, so we are going to talk about that. But why do survivors fear anger? And especially women, because we're taught not to be angry from a very young age. Like if little boys get angry or mad and they get into arguments and they wrestle, but little girls aren't supposed to do that, right? So a lot of times, one, it's conditioning that we're not supposed to do that. But two, a lot of times survivors have beliefs about anger, okay? So and of course, everything is a belief, like literally everything. So if I get angry, I'm going to be just like my abuser. If I can't control my emotions, I'm going to be, and then insert the label, a bad person, too emotional, crazy, like whatever, like insert the word. Another one is that anger means that I'm not healed. Some people believe that. Like if they put on this like forward-facing front of peace and joy and happy or whatever, but it's not real. Maybe they're doing it because they're afraid that if they show anger, then people are going to think that they're not healed, or that they're bitter, or that they're holding resentment or something like that. Okay, so then you would avoid that because you don't maybe want people to think that about you. But let's talk about the truth, because that's really important. But the thing is, anger is a protective emotion, okay? It signals to you that something is wrong or something was wrong. Anger is something that helps you, and for many people, stay safe, stay alive, right? I mean, if you're in the woods and you come upon a grizzly bear or a black bear or whatever, what they tell you to do is to make yourself look bigger and look scary and make big sounds, and like, you probably look kind of angry, right? You look angry to protect yourself. That's why people do it. Okay? That's why animals do it. They bare their teeth, they look angry, right? To protect. Okay? So that is the truth. That's the trauma-informed truth. Anger is a protective emotion. Anger is not inherently bad. A lot of people get that wrong because they've experienced anger in such a way that it harmed them. So they automatically assume that anger is bad. But it isn't automatically bad. It has very good uses. We just have to know how to utilize it and express it in the best way. Now, maybe you've been told you're too sensitive for being upset about their behavior. So if they got angry and then you reacted, you were told you were too sensitive. Or maybe your family told you, oh, just move on, like when you got angry about something. And they made you doubt your feelings. Like, oh, why are you getting so worked up about this and dismissing your feelings? Maybe you shoved your anger down, you swallowed it, you bit your tongue for so long that it turned inward, and now all of a sudden you're in this depression or self-blame state. This is not healthy, okay? Think about a beach ball. If you take that beach ball and you put it in the water and it's just like nicely floating on the surface, let's call that beach ball your anger beach ball. And we're going to just grab it and we're going to try to shove it under the water because we don't want to see it anymore. We don't want it up at the top. We want to hide it and we want to push it down. Do you know how much energy that takes to push that ball down and keep it there for a long time without it kind of popping back up? And guess what? When it pops up, it's going to pop up and it's going to come up fast and it's going to come up high. Okay, so we don't want to stuff our emotions, especially not anger. You should be angry about what happened to you. It was wrong and it was harmful on so many levels. And you have every right to be angry about it. You know, in my one-on-one healing programs, I remember so many times when I've worked with women and I see them just breathe this sigh of relief and their shoulders drop and they're like, oh, they just sink into their chair when I tell them that they're allowed to be angry. That I'm not going to take their anger away. I'm not going to tell them not to be angry because it's part of the healing. It's not part of being stuck. It's actually important to process it. If you don't process it, it's gonna resurface at some point. You're gonna take it out on somebody who didn't deserve it. You're going to have road rage. Something else is gonna happen. It's gonna come out. You know, it's like that beach ball. You can't keep it down, no matter how hard you try. Now, I love to talk about the science behind this, and the thing is that your survival instincts are saying this was not okay, right? And that's the anger talking. This was not okay. And it's not. It's not okay. But then what happens is that suppressed anger, if you suppress it, like, because the anger is saying this was not okay. But if you're suppressing it, you're almost like saying it was okay because you're suppressing the anger. And then what happens after that, it turns into things like anxiety. It turns into things like depression, autoimmune issues, chronic pain, which I've talked about in other episodes that come up when we are not allowing our emotions to pass through. Okay? A lot of times people think if they get angry, then something really bad's going to happen. They're going to hurt somebody. They're going to do something they regret. So people suppress it because they're afraid. And my question to challenge that is, are you that person? Are you that person that wants to harm people and do those things? Or can you let your anger come out and still control yourself? And most of the time, everybody's like, no, I can control myself. And I probably believe that most of you would say that too. So the difference between rage from an abuser, right, which is all about their entitlement, their need for control, their need for dominance, right, versus a survivor's anger is all about protection. It's all about justice. This is all about healing, is different. Now, if you're feeling like revenge tied to your anger, that's different, right? Like they should pay for it. They need to be held accountable. And like you want to be the one to exact that revenge. Well, then what I'm going to tell you is you need to find a healthy outlet to get your anger out, because that's not going to solve any problems. And it's probably just going to create more problems for you. Okay, so if you don't let anger move through you, it stagnates. And you know what happens like when water stagnates? It gets nasty. So this will happen in your body. If you don't let this stuff move and pass through, it's going to get stuck and it's going to get nasty and swampy and going to be really bad for you. And I just want you to know that if you're experiencing this anger because of whatever someone did to you, that is so valid, that nobody should take that away from you, that nobody should invalidate that experience, but you're in control of how you feel, regardless of what happened, or regardless what people have done to you. And if you choose to release that anger and process it because you want peace inside of yourself and you don't want to hold on to that anger anymore, then you can do that for yourself. Okay? It doesn't depend on anyone else or how anyone else shows up or if anyone apologizes or if anyone does better going forward, right? It's still living in you, so you've got to be the one to process it. Now, let's talk about these healthy anger release tools, because anger is energy and it needs to be moved and it needs to be expressed. But the key here is to do it safely and healthily. So one of my favorite things to do is go to a rage room. So if you've never been to a rage room, I highly recommend it. Get a friend or a buddy to go with you. You get to break plates. You get to smash objects like old printers and TVs. You suit up, you wear gloves, you go in there and you're in like a safe space where you can just beat the tar out of whatever's in there. Now, I recommend having something in mind that you want to harness your anger about when you go in. And if you do take a buddy, please pre-warn them and let them know that you're processing emotions and like be very transparent about that, because chances are your emotions are going to come out and then your tears are going to come out and your sweat, and you're going to be experiencing feelings you'd never felt before. But it is such a release. Okay? I had to do this before and it was totally transformational for me, like emotionally and physically. Like I could feel the change in my body because I had been the person who would say, I'm not an angry person. I don't get angry. That was me. And then when I finally let the anger come out, it was like, oh my God, I've just been caging this monster this whole time and all it wanted to do was just come out and get out of my body. And it felt like such a release. Another thing that you can do if that's not aligned for you is a sport, right? Like a movement sport, kickboxing, tennis, anything where you can like hit stuff, like, you know, if you're going to swing a baseball bat, even like dancing and dancing to like loud rage music or metal or something like that, like can really help you process your anger. Pillow smashing. So here's one, like I had a client who couldn't really do any of these things. So the best that she could do, because she lived in an apartment and there was people below her, and was she would take a pillow and just stand in the middle of the room and then just take her arms above her head and then throw the pillow as hard as she could on the floor. And it's hard to throw like a pillow on the floor because it's so lightweight, but it makes you push the energy through your body. So she would just do that over and over and over again, but you're harnessing the anger of whatever it is that you're processing at the same time. Like, if you're mad, get mad, right? You're not harming anybody. You're doing something productive to process your feelings. You could do like a screaming session into a pillow, as long as you don't have like neighbors and stuff. Then you don't want anybody calling the police or anything. Maybe if you're in your car, in a parking lot, like somewhere away from people, if you're outdoors somewhere safe, you could do that. Another really good one is like writing and then destroying it, like ripping the paper, burning the paper, crumpling it up, like whatever you're going to do, like stomping on it. Stomping is good too. Like I sometimes like will go in my basement where I have like a concrete floor and I can just stomp and just stomp, stomp, stomp when I'm angry, and it just lets it out, just gets it out, and I feel so much better. So those are some things that you can do to help you release some of that stored up anger. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen, write this down, because this is going to be something that you can reflect on later. And the question is, what is my anger trying to protect? And really think about that, because the answer might surprise you. And here's the other question that I love is, what do I have to let go of or get rid of if I no longer feel angry? Or what am I giving up if I no longer feel angry? And that is going to be a revelation for you, because oftentimes we hold on to it for a good reason. So you may not want to let go of your anger. And if you don't want to let go of it, there could be a good reason why. And you don't have to let go of it. Again, I'm not telling anybody they can't be angry. My thing is, process your anger. Let it come out of your body. Be angry. Don't take it out on people or pets, or harm properties, or harm other people or any other people's properties or anything like that. I've given you many, many ways to do it. Rage room, sports, pillows, screaming, destroying your paper, that sort of thing. There's a lot of healthy ways to express your anger, and I would highly recommend you do that. But what do you get from holding on to your anger? What do you get? What's the benefit here? And some people might say, I don't get anything. I don't want to be angry. There's something there. You need to unplug that. You need to figure out what that is. People don't just be angry and hold on to their anger for no reason. There's a good reason for it. You just got to check yourself. And these are the kinds of things I help people with in my one-on-one, in the Voxer support, because I help you shift your thinking about these things. You come to me, you're struggling with something, I figure out what it is that you're thinking about, and then I guide you through it. And I give you these kinds of tools, and I tell you how you can start the process. Okay, maybe you're somebody who's needing to process your anger. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're somebody who needs to process the guilt from like last week's episode, why you didn't leave sooner. Maybe that's something. Okay. But whatever it is, it all starts in the subconscious mind. That's what I wish everybody knew. 95% of how you feel is happening in the subconscious, because those are your program beliefs. And if you're feeling afraid, sad, guilty, regretful, low self-worth, lonely, like whatever it is, those emotions are going to dictate how you behave. Those are going to dictate how you move forward in life. If you're somebody who's constantly operating with anger, well, how do you think you're going to be? Somebody who's constantly operating out of fear, how do you think you're going to move forward in life? Right? So instead of framing things like, I shouldn't be angry, maybe think about it like this: that my anger is proof that I deserved better. That I'm allowed to have emotions. I'm allowed to be angry. I'm also going to choose to Release it in a healthy manner. You should absolutely feel your emotions. That's why the title of this, why you should be angry about it. Well, one, we know why you should be angry about it because it was totally unfair and it should have never happened to you. But you should be angry about it because it's going to help you. It's going to help you heal. Okay? And if you're scared and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can feel my anger, or I'm not an angry person, like I used to say, send me a message or schedule a 30-minute root cause call and we will unpack it together. Okay? Sometimes you might think, well, anger means that I'm stuck. And if I'm holding on to anger, then I'm not healing. No, that is not what it means. Again, we have to shift our perspectives. We have to stop just going with that first thought. Well, no, anger means that I'm stuck. What else could it mean? Could it mean that you're healing? Could it mean that you're human? What else could it mean, right? This is what I talk about when I say we need to stretch your brain and kind of think of other possibilities. What else could being angry mean? Because some people are like, well, anger means that I'll do something bad. Really? Have you known anybody who was ever angry who didn't do something bad? Well, I sure have. Me, I'm one. I've been angry and I haven't done bad things. I haven't hurt people because of my anger. Are there people who do? Yes, absolutely. Again, all we're doing is considering other possibilities. So the purpose here is to reframe your anger as like a guide or like a compass. It's just an emotion is trying to give you information. It might show you what you value. It might show you what you no longer will tolerate or accept. It might actually lead you to set boundaries where you used to not have any. So you see, anger can be very useful. A lot of times people think anger is bad, like just generally anger is bad. But has anger ever done anything good? And you might be like, I don't know. Of course it has. Think about the civil rights movement. Think about, social justice. Think about women's suffrage and the right to vote. People were freaking angry. And it created change. Okay? So anger isn't always bad. Anger can be a spark, too, for change, for things to get different. The anger that I felt when I knew that my ex-husband was abusing me on purpose, like because I didn't know that, when I realized that was enough. That was enough for me. I was so pissed. I was like, get me out of here. I'm planning my escape. I'm leaving. I can't deal with this anymore. So, anger isn't always bad. We have to reframe these beliefs that we just kind of automatically believe everything that we think. Why are we doing that? It's a habit. That's why. It's an automatic program that just keeps running. And unless we jump in and say, put pause on here. Hold on. Pause this automatic program. Let me check this automatic program. Is this automatic program something I want to keep believing? Is it helping me? Is it hurting me? Is there any other possibility here? That's what I'm talking about. That's what we have to start to do. So your anger is not dangerous. It's your protector. It means you see the truth now. It means you can set boundaries. It means there's room for change. So if you want more support from me, there are so many ways that you can get support. You can go on my website at www.radiate.rise.com. At the top, there's my free 30-minute root cause call you can schedule. When you scroll down, there's a free beliefs quiz that I will personally respond to and give you feedback and support. There are, this podcast, obviously. There are other downloads, meditations you can get for free on my website. And then there are paid things too, like the Letting Go booklet that goes to 100% to charity if you buy, which is $7.77. There's a $15 break free from rumination course that you can take on your own time. I have Voxer support, so it's like you have personalized communication with me. So it'd be me in your back pocket, guiding you through whatever struggles that you're going through and helping you through it. Or you can work with me in my one-on-one program or join my community. These are all options for you. I wanted to have so much of a variety of things so that you could choose what's going to help you the most. But you have to take action, right? Listening to this podcast is a form of action. But listening isn't the only thing. You have to be implementing. You have to put something in place for your healing. Even if that's, going to a yoga class or signing up to talk to a therapist or whatever, you've got to take some action. And if you're not taking action, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So I hope this episode has been helpful to you. Remember, you should be angry. You should feel your anger. You should move your anger in a healthy way. Make sure you direct it in a healthy way. And you'll feel a lot better after you do that. Be safe out there. Message me anytime on Instagram or Facebook. You can email me, allison@radiateandrise.com. And I'm here to support you. Thanks so much for being such loyal listeners. I'm so happy to have you in my world. And I will talk to you next week.